Marcus Aurelius said, "The happiness of your life depends on the quality of your thoughts." And this is where the battle begins. Not in the crowd, not in the storm, not in the voices that misunderstand you, not in the hands of those who treat you unfairly. It begins in the hidden place within you, where one thought becomes a wound, one insult becomes a fire, one criticism becomes a sentence you repeat until it feels like truth. A person says something careless, and suddenly your whole spirit tightens. Someone questions your intentions, and the day loses its color. Someone refuses to understand you, and you begin arguing with them in your mind long after the conversation has ended. You walk away, but you do not truly leave. Their voice follows you. Their judgment follows you. Their disrespect sits beside you like an unwanted guest. And slowly, without noticing, you give them access to the one place they were never meant to enter, your peace. You may tell yourself that you are only thinking, that you are only processing, that you are only trying to make sense of what happened. But beneath that thought is something deeper. You are still asking them for permission to be calm. You are still waiting for an apology before you allow yourself to breathe. You are still hoping they will see your heart correctly before you let your spirit rest. This is how people lose themselves. Not dramatically at first, not with some great collapse, but in small surrenderings. A little peace given away here, a little dignity traded there, a little silence broken because the ego could not bear being misunderstood. And by the end, you wonder why you feel tired. You wonder why your mind is restless. You wonder why you feel anxious in the presence of people who have already shown you they do not handle your heart with care. The truth is painful, but it can also set you free. Many people do not steal your peace. You hand it to them. You place it in their reaction. You place it in their approval. You place it in their fairness. You place it in their ability to understand, respect, or value you. And then you suffer because they do not guard what was never their responsibility to protect. A Stoic does not live this way. A Stoic learns that peace is not something the world gives and takes whenever it pleases. Peace is a discipline. Peace is a boundary. Peace is an inner order that must be protected with the same seriousness a city protects its gates. If the gates are open to every passerby, the city will never know rest. And if your mind is open to every insult, every opinion, every disappointment, every minor offense, every foolish conflict, and every person who acts without wisdom, your soul will never know silence. You were not built to be ruled by every passing mood around you. You were not born to become a leaf in the wind, thrown from anger to sadness, from hope to fear, from confidence to anxiety, from determination to dissatisfaction, depending on how others choose to behave. You were given reason. You were given inner strength. You were given the ability to pause, to examine, to choose. And that choice is where your freedom begins. Because the world will not always be gentle with you. People will misunderstand you. Some will underestimate you. Some will take your kindness and treat it like weakness. Some will enjoy arguing over minor points, not because truth matters to them, but because conflict gives them a sense of power. Some will criticize you without knowing what you have endured. Some will make rash decisions and then expect you to carry the consequences. Some will only respect your peace once they realize they no longer have access to it. This is not bitterness. This is wisdom. You can love people without giving them control over your inner state. You can forgive past wrongs without allowing the same wounds to repeat. You can be patient without becoming passive. You can be kind without being foolish. You can remain honorable without letting others take advantage of you. This is one of the hardest lessons in personal growth. Your peace must have a gate, not a wall that makes you cold. Not a fortress built from fear, not isolation disguised as strength. A gate, something that opens with wisdom and closes with courage. Because not everyone deserves the same access to you. Not everyone deserves your energy, your attention, your explanations, your emotional pain, your private thoughts, or your repeated chances. There are people who can stand near your fire and grow warmer, and there are people who will only throw ash into it and then ask why the light is fading. You must learn the difference. This is crucial. For much of life, you may have believed that being good meant being endlessly available. You may have believed that being strong meant enduring everything quietly. You may have believed that being loving meant explaining yourself until people finally understood your heart. But some people are not seeking understanding. They are seeking access. Access to your reaction, access to your guilt, access to your fear, access to your attention. Access to the part of you that still wants to be chosen, approved of, and seen. And if you do not become conscious, you will confuse attachment with loyalty. You will confuse anxiety with love. You will confuse emotional pain with proof that someone matters. You will confuse the inability to walk away with passion. But pain is not always a sign to stay. Sometimes pain is the soul saying, "This is not peace." Sometimes the hurt you feel is not because you are weak. It is because you keep standing at a gate that should have closed long ago. There are seasons when life teaches gently, and there are seasons when it removes your illusions with force. It shows you who respects your silence and who only values your response. It shows you who honors your boundaries and who becomes angry the moment you set them. It shows you who walks beside your growth and who tries to pull you back into your old wounds. In the beginning, this realization may feel lonely. You may feel the quiet weight of isolation. You may wonder why peace sometimes requires distance. You may ask whether you are being unfair, whether you are too hard, whether you should explain one more time, forgive one more time, open the gate one more time. And sometimes forgiveness is right. But access is not the same as forgiveness. You can forgive someone and still stop giving them the keys to your inner world. You can release resentment and still refuse to return to the same pattern. You can wish someone well and still choose not to stand where they can wound you again. This is not cruelty. It is responsibility. A man who does not take responsibility for his peace will always blame the world for his suffering. He will say, "They made me angry. They made me anxious. They ruined my day. They destroyed my focus. They stole my calm." But the Stoic pauses and asks a deeper question. Why did I give them so much power? Why did I let their disorder become my disorder? Why did I allow their words to live in my mind after their mouth had gone silent? Why did I make their opinion the judge of my worth? This is where the path changes. Not when others become better, not when life becomes easier, not when every misunderstanding is corrected, not when every unfair moment is repaired. The path changes when you stop requiring the world to be calm before you become calm. Most people wait for peace as if it is a reward. They wait for people to behave. They wait for plans to unfold perfectly. They wait for criticism to end. They wait for the outcome to prove they were right. They wait for life to stop testing them. But peace that depends on perfect conditions is not peace. It is a fragile agreement with chaos. The Stoic does not wait for the storm to disappear. He learns how to stand within it without becoming the storm himself. That is the work. When someone insults you, you do not need to become the insult. When someone misunderstands you, you do not need to turn your whole life into a courtroom. When someone acts foolishly, you do not need to join them in foolishness. When someone treats your silence as weakness, you do not need to prove your strength. Your calm is proof enough. The more you explain yourself to people committed to misunderstanding you, the more you make your peace dependent on their approval. And this is a dangerous trade, because some people will never approve. Some people are too attached to the version of you that keeps them comfortable. Some people benefit from your guilt. Some people prefer your confusion, because a clear mind would walk away. So they keep you dwelling on problems. They keep you defending your intentions. They keep you returning to old arguments. They keep you stuck in a phase of your life that your soul is trying to outgrow. And the tragedy is that while you are fighting to be understood by people who do not listen, your life is passing. Your life's mission waits in silence. Your direction becomes unclear. Your plans lose strength. Your courage weakens. Your attention, which could have been used to build something honorable, is spent on proving your worth to those who were never appointed to measure it. This is why Stoicism is not passive. It is not simply breathing calmly while the world does whatever it wants. Stoicism is the discipline of choosing where your life force goes. It is the wisdom to ask, is this worthy of me? Not, can I win this argument? Not, can I make them admit they were wrong? Not, can I finally get the outcome my ego wants? But, is this worthy of my soul? Some battles make you stronger. Others only make you smaller. Some conversations bring clarity. Others drain the life from your spirit and call it discussion. Some people challenge you in ways that help you grow. Others keep reopening wounds and call it honesty. You must know the difference. A peaceful life is not built by avoiding every challenge. It is built by choosing the right challenges. It is built by knowing what to carry and what to put down. It is built by accepting the constraints of reality without surrendering your dignity. Reality will not always bend for you. People will disappoint you. Plans will break. The ending you imagined may not arrive. The beginning you feared may be exactly what saves you. A setback may become the place where your character finally hardens into wisdom. But none of this can happen if your mind is enslaved to every person who disturbs you. You must reclaim the inner citadel. You must return to the place within yourself where no insult can enter without your permission, where no unfair moment can command your entire spirit, where no person can turn your peace into a bargaining table. In that place, you do not become numb, you become clear. There is a difference. Numbness says, I feel nothing because I am afraid to feel. Clarity says, I feel deeply, but I will not be ruled by every feeling. Numbness is a restriction of the heart. Clarity is the discipline of the mind. A Stoic does not deny emotional pain. He studies it. He listens to it. He asks what it is teaching. He does not run from hurt, but he also does not build a home inside it. Pain may visit. It may sit with you for a while. It may reveal where you were too attached, where you trusted too blindly, where you allowed others to cross boundaries you never clearly defended. But pain is not meant to become your master. It is meant to become a teacher, And the teacher often says the same thing again and again. Take care of yourself, not selfishly, not arrogantly, not as an escape from responsibility. Take care of yourself because a neglected soul becomes easy to control. When you are exhausted, you overreact. When you are insecure, you chase the trappings of success to prove you are enough. When you are empty, you become materialistic, hoping possessions will give you the satisfaction your spirit lacks. When you are afraid, you make rash decisions. When you are controlled by a fear of failure, you may never begin the work that could have changed your life. When you are ruled by loneliness, you may allow people near you who should have remained at a distance. This is why peace is not weakness. Peace is protection. It protects your judgment. It protects your direction. It protects your purpose. It protects your ability to think positively without becoming blind to truth. It protects your hope from becoming desperation. It protects your courage from being spent on the wrong war. And perhaps most importantly, peace protects your capacity to love without losing yourself. Because when your peace has no boundary, love becomes fear. You fear losing people. You fear disappointing them. You fear being judged. You fear being alone. You fear being forgotten. You fear the silence that comes when you stop performing, and so you keep giving access, even when it costs you sleep, even when it costs you confidence, even when it costs you the quiet voice of your own instincts. But there is a wiser way. To follow your heart and your instincts does not mean obeying every emotion. It means listening to the deeper truth beneath the noise. It means noticing when your body tightens around certain people. It means recognizing when your spirit feels smaller after every exchange. It means honoring the quiet knowledge that says, "This is not good for me." The Stoics understood that freedom begins with inner government. You cannot govern the world. You cannot govern every tongue. You cannot govern every opinion. You cannot govern every result, but you can govern the door. You can decide what enters your attention. You can decide how long a wound is allowed to speak. You can decide whether a person's disorder becomes your identity. You can decide to set boundaries before bitterness is born. This is not always easy. In fact, it may be one of the hardest things you ever do. Because some people are used to the old version of you, the version that explained too much, the version that apologized for having limits, the version that carried guilt like a duty, the version that said yes while the soul whispered no, the version that allowed disrespect because confrontation felt frightening, the version that confused being needed with being loved. When that version begins to disappear, people may resist. They may call you distant. They may say you changed. They may accuse you of being cold. They may try to pull you back into the same old pattern with criticism, guilt, or emotional pressure. Let them misunderstand. There is no personal growth without misunderstanding. Every person who becomes stronger must survive the discomfort of being misread by those who benefited from their weakness. This is where courage is required. Not loud courage, quiet courage. The courage to pause before reacting. The courage to end an argument without having the final word. The courage to stop proving yourself to people who are committed to doubt. The courage to walk away without hatred. The courage to be alone long enough to remember who you are. This is the breakthrough. Not when life finally becomes fair, but when fairness is no longer the condition for your peace. You stop saying, "I will be calm" when they apologize. You stop saying, "I will move on," when they understand. You stop saying, "I will be free," when the outcome changes. Instead you say, "I will be honorable now." Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be one." This is the middle of the path. A man can spend years speaking about peace while living in reaction. He can admire wisdom and still choose foolishness when his pride is touched. He can quote philosophers and still allow one careless voice to take command of his day. But the Stoic path is not decoration. It is not meant to make you sound wise. It is meant to make you live differently. To be one. To be the kind of person who no longer needs chaos to become quiet before he finds stillness. To be the kind of person who refuses to trade character for revenge. To be the kind of person who understands that restraint is not weakness and silence is not surrender. There is a deep satisfaction that comes from this kind of mastery. Not the loud satisfaction of winning over others, but the quiet satisfaction of not betraying yourself. You begin to notice it slowly. Someone tries to provoke you, and you do not move. Someone questions your worth, and you do not collapse. Someone leaves, and you grieve, but you do not abandon yourself. Someone criticizes you, and you examine what is useful, then release what is not. Someone treats you unfairly, and you act with dignity instead of becoming what wounded you. This is how strength is formed, not in theory, in the exact moments where the old self would have reacted. At first, the silence may feel unnatural. You may feel a burning desire to explain. Your chest may tighten. The mind may prepare a speech. The ego may say, "Do not let them think they won." But what did they win? Your reaction, your attention, your peace. If someone can control you by provoking you, then they do not need chains. Your emotion becomes the chain. And every time you react without thought, you tighten it. The Stoic breaks the chain by creating space, a breath, a pause, a moment of awareness. A simple question: what is within my control here? Not their tone, not their opinion, not their memory of events, not their ability to be fair, not the story they tell about you. Your judgment is within your control. Your action is within your control. Your boundary is within your control. Your refusal to become bitter is within your control. Your decision to persevere with dignity is within your control. This is where peace becomes active. It is not lying down beneath life. It is standing upright within it. There will be days when you feel the old pull, the desire to be understood, the desire to correct every misunderstanding, the desire to return to people who hurt you because loneliness feels heavier than self-respect. On those days, remember this: loneliness can be a teacher. It can show you where you abandoned yourself for company. It can show you where you traded peace for closeness. It can show you where your attachment was stronger than your discernment. Do not fear every season of isolation. Some seasons are not punishment. They are purification. They remove the noise so you can hear your own direction again. They strip away the crowd so you can see who walks with honor. They bring you face to face with yourself, not to destroy you, but to make you whole. In silence, you may begin to see how much of your life was shaped by reaction. You reacted to criticism. You reacted to rejection. You reacted to fear. You reacted to dissatisfaction. You reacted to the belief that you were behind, that you were not enough, that you had to prove something quickly before the world forgot you. And because of that, you may have chosen paths that were never yours. You may have chased approval instead of meaning. You may have followed plans that looked impressive but felt empty. You may have mistaken the trappings of success for the reward of a life well lived. But peace brings truth, and truth brings new choices. When you stop giving people access to your peace, you also stop giving them authority over your future. You begin to ask different questions. What do I truly value? What kind of person am I becoming? Which relationships make me more honorable? Which habits strengthen my character? Which burdens are mine, and which have I carried only because I was afraid to put them down? What would I pursue if I were no longer governed by fear of failure? What would I build if I trusted myself enough to begin? What would my life look like if I stopped living as though every person's opinion were a command? These questions are not comfortable, but they are alive. They awaken something, a sense of direction, a sense of responsibility, a sense that perhaps the ending of one version of you is the beginning of another. And this new beginning is not loud. It does not announce itself with grand declarations. It begins quietly. You stop answering every provocation. You stop explaining your boundaries to people who only respect access. You stop taking on guilt that does not belong to you. You stop letting old wounds decide your new choices. You stop asking disorderly people to give you peace. And with each act of restraint, something within you becomes stronger. At first, others may not notice. That is fine. The deepest transformation is often invisible before it becomes undeniable. A mountain does not ask the storm if it appears strong. It simply stands. You must learn to stand this way. Not rigid, not cruel, not closed to love, but rooted. There is a difference between having a soft heart and an unguarded life. Keep the heart alive. Guard the gate. Let compassion remain, but let wisdom guide it. Let kindness remain, but let boundaries shape it. Let forgiveness remain, but let memory teach it. Let hope remain, but let reality discipline it. Because hope without wisdom becomes self-deception, and wisdom without hope becomes hardness. The Stoic path asks for both, a clear eye and an open spirit. You can hope people change, but you do not build your peace on that hope. You can believe in good, but you do not ignore repeated harm. You can adapt to change, but you do not betray your values to survive every phase. You can care deeply, but you do not let caring become a doorway through which others control you. This is balance. This is maturity. This is strength. Seneca said, "Associate with people who are likely to improve you. Welcome those who you are capable of improving." This is not merely advice about friendship. It is advice about the atmosphere of your life. Who are you becoming around the people you allow closest? Do they make you more patient, more disciplined, more truthful, more honorable? Or do they pull you into pettiness, suspicion, anxiety, and constant defense? Do they help your better self unfold? Or do they keep you attached to the wounded self you are trying to outgrow? There are people who awaken your courage. There are people who sharpen your mind. There are people who remind you to take care of yourself, to think clearly, to persevere through challenges, to return to your life's mission when you lose direction. And there are people who awaken only your fear, your insecurity, your anger, your need to prove, your need to chase, your need to shrink. Choose carefully, because your peace is shaped not only by what you believe, but by what you repeatedly allow near you. This does not mean you abandon everyone who struggles. It does not mean you only keep people who are easy. All human beings carry flaws. You carry flaws too. But there is a difference between a flawed person who is trying to grow and a destructive person who expects you to adapt endlessly to their disorder. There is a difference between someone who makes mistakes and someone who makes your pain a pattern. There is a difference between helping someone rise and letting them pull you beneath the water. Wisdom knows the difference. And sometimes, the most loving thing you can do is stop participating in someone's chaos. Not with hatred, with clarity. You may say less. You may step back. You may choose silence where you once chose defense. You may allow someone to keep their opinion without trying to correct it. You may let the relationship change shape. You may let distance become the boundary that words could not create. This can hurt. Do not pretend it does not. Every ending carries a kind of grief, even when the ending is necessary. You may miss people who were not good for your peace. You may remember the good moments and question the boundary. You may feel the old attachment rise like a hand reaching backward. But memory is not always instruction. Sometimes memory is only memory. Let it pass through you without obeying it. Let the past be honored without being repeated. Let the lessons remain, but do not rebuild the prison. There is a quiet reward on the other side of this discipline. It is not applause. It is not revenge. It is not proving that you were right. The reward is waking within your own life and feeling that your spirit belongs to you again. Your mornings become lighter. Your thoughts become cleaner. Your energy returns. You feel less controlled by the moods of others. You begin to notice beauty again. The stillness before the day unfolds. The discipline of simple work. The satisfaction of keeping one promise to yourself. The firelight of purpose that remains even when the world is cold. You begin to feel alive, not because everything is perfect, but because you are no longer giving your life away in pieces. This is peace. Not a perfect life, a governed soul. There will still be challenges. There will still be criticism. There will still be unfair moments, broken plans, disappointment, misunderstanding, and anxiety that rises without warning. But now you meet them differently. You do not hand them the throne. You do not let them become your identity. You do not let one setback define the direction of your life. You return to what is yours, your choices, your discipline, your character, your boundaries, your courage, your determination, your inner strength. You return to the work. And the work is simple but not easy. Do not give full access to temporary emotions. Do not give permanent authority to passing people. Do not give your peace to those who have not earned the responsibility of being near it. Do not let every wound become a command. Do not let every disappointment become a prophecy. Do not let every ending convince you that nothing good can begin again, because something can begin again. You can begin again. A calmer version of you, a wiser version of you, a more disciplined version of you, a version that no longer begs chaos to become gentle, a version that no longer mistakes reaction for strength, a version that understands peace is not found by controlling everyone, but by mastering the entrance to your own mind. This is not the path of the weak. It takes strength to remain calm when anger would be easier. It takes strength to walk away when pride wants to fight. It takes strength to set boundaries with people who are used to your silence. It takes strength to forgive without returning. It takes strength to love without surrendering yourself. It takes strength to feel emotional pain and still choose an honorable response. This is the strength that lasts, not the strength that needs to dominate, not the strength that needs to be feared, not the strength that needs to announce itself. The strength of a man who belongs to himself. The strength of someone who has looked at the storm within and chosen not to become it. So the next time someone tries to pull you into disorder, pause. Do not rush to defend. Do not rush to explain. Do not rush to wound them back. Ask yourself, is this worthy of my peace? Is this a battle for truth or only a demand from my ego? Will my response make me more honorable or only more entangled? Am I acting from wisdom or from fear? Am I choosing direction or repeating a wound? These questions will not remove every difficulty, but they will place you back in command of yourself. And that is where freedom begins, not in being untouched by life, but in refusing to let every touch become a chain. You will still care. Do not let anyone convince you that the goal is to stop caring completely. That is not wisdom. That is damage-wearing armor. Care about your character. Care about your responsibilities. Care about the people who are likely to improve you. Care about those you are capable of improving. Care about your life's mission. Care about your direction. Care about your health, your discipline, your purpose, your ability to become useful, grounded, and strong. But stop caring so deeply about the noise that you lose the music of your own life. Stop caring so much about being liked that you abandon being truthful. Stop caring so much about being understood that you betray your silence. Stop caring so much about keeping access open that you forget the peace inside was sacred. Your peace is not a public road, it is a temple. Not everyone may enter, and the ones who do must enter with respect. This is not arrogance, it is stewardship. You are responsible for what you allow to shape you. You are responsible for the thoughts you water. You are responsible for the company you keep. You are responsible for the wounds you keep reopening. You are responsible for the gates you leave unguarded. And this responsibility is not a burden, it is power. Because if you are responsible, then you are not helpless. If you are responsible, then new choices are possible. If you are responsible, then the next season does not have to repeat the last one. If you are responsible, then peace is not something you wait for. It is something you practice. Today, begin there. Not with a dramatic announcement, not with anger, not with blame. Begin quietly. Withdraw access from what keeps disturbing your soul. Stop feeding arguments that have no ending. Stop defending yourself before those who profit from misunderstanding. Stop opening the gate to every voice that knocks. Stand in the silence long enough to hear your own life again. And when the world becomes loud, remember, a mind of quality creates a life of peace. A disciplined heart does not need every outcome to obey. A wise soul can be hurt and still remain honorable. A strong person can love deeply and still walk away. You do not need to become hard. You need to become governed. You do not need to control everyone. You need to stop giving everyone control. And when you finally understand this, something in you settles. The storm may continue. The crowd may speak. The past may echo. The future may remain uncertain. But inside, a gate closes. And beyond that gate, for the first time in a long time, there is silence. Not emptiness, Not loneliness, peace, the kind that no one can take because you no longer hand it away. Stand there, guard it, live from it, and let the rest unfold.